just got to watch one of my more anticipated movies of the year. This is a film that was playing at all of the festivals last year, at a major festival run, and I had just missed it when I was getting to see a bunch of the movies, but I had heard so many good things about this movie, so much word of mouth coming out of this thing, and finally, almost actually exactly a year later, I have gotten to see Woman of the Hour. This is the brand new film and directorial debut from Anna Kendrick. Yeah, of all people, Anna Kendrick has directed her first movie, and it is this. And you might be wondering, what is Woman of the Hour? It's a movie that's based on a shocking true story, a true story that I had been very well educated on. If you've ever watched any of those Watch Mojo videos, welcome to Watch Mojo, and these are the top 10 most shocking things to ever happen on live television. Yeah, if you ever watched that video, you probably stumbled across this story about this dating show back in the 1970s where this woman was matched up with a dude who ended up being a serial killer. She didn't die, but she ended up finding out that he was kind of creepy, and he ended up being a serial killer. Not just a serial killer, but one of the most prolific in American history, who may have killed over 100 people. This is a movie about that. Well, sort of. It's not entirely about just the dating show, which is kind of what I thought this movie was going to be when I had seen the images and I had heard some early reviews. I just thought it was going to be kind of like a Late Night with the Devil, where the entire thing is based on this one episode of television, and we would be following documentary style through this event. That's not exactly what this is. Instead, you get a very tense, suspenseful thriller, a movie that at times is even kind of like a horror movie, and it's really a psychological study of this serial killer and of the woman that he affected. It's kind of like a 50-50. It's a movie that reminded me a lot of kind of what the Dahmer Show should have been, where the Dahmer Show is a study of the serial killer. It accidentally almost sympathizes the audience with him, despite the fact that he is this evil monster, which is probably the worst part about that show. This is a movie that puts you kind of in the mind and in the circle of this terrifying serial killer, but it never tries to sympathize with him. It always reaffirms that this dude is a monster. The only reason you try to get in his mind and try to understand him is because there is a fascinating element of that. What makes somebody do these things? And to try to pick that apart in this movie is slightly interesting, but it never sympathizes his cause. This man is a piece of shit. Instead, it kind of takes sort of the female roles, the woman, mainly played by Anna Kendrick, and then, of course, Autumn Best, who I had never seen her work before, but she is also incredible in this film, and we follow them and their journeys interacting with this man and their experiences with him, and sort of see what they go through and their perspective on these things. And that's what makes this film very, very powerful, is it's this weird perspective of being victimized as a woman under the control of this evil force of a man. And it works really, really well. And there's a lot more I want to talk about with this film. First things first, the performances here. Anna Kendrick is really, really great. I'm always a little bit weary whenever a director, especially a first-time director, inserts themselves as the lead of their own movie, even though I don't really think Anna Kendrick's the lead here, technically. But it always just seems weird to me. Bradley Cooper did it last year with Maestro, and despite the fact that sometimes it really works out for the movies, it's just, I don't know, there's something about that icks me out. But Anna Kendrick is really, really good here. This is one of my favorite performances of her. She does play a very different character than I thought we were going to get, and yeah, she does her job in this film. But there are two performances in this movie that are absolute standouts that would be worthy of award consideration if I was the one running these award shows. First off is Autumn Best, who is a young actress. I've never seen her work before, but she plays one of the victims, or somebody who is being victimized by this killer, and she's absolutely terrific. Her story starts out kind of slow. You don't really know where it's going. It kind of feels like a B story, but by the end of the movie, you really feel like this is one of, if not the most important sequences in this movie, and she's terrific. She carries it, and such a powerful performance from her. But easily the best performance of the movie is Daniel Zovato, who plays this serial killer, and he does absolutely everything you need from a character like this to depict evil, to depict a monster. This is one of those performances that's so terrifying that if I met this man in real life, I would steer clear of him. It is a horrifying performance. He has a way of being human, charismatic, fun, joyful, but also just having this edge to him that is so utterly terrifying. He is so easily seen as sort of being crazy and evil, and the audience, knowing that he is this bad dude, does add an element to it, but he still has that humanity factor that allows you to see, like, I get why people fell into the trap. But he is so brilliant in this movie. This hopefully will be an Oscar-nominated sort of performance. I don't think it will be, but wow, what a performance from him. Let's talk about the filmmaking, because this film and the script itself, it just is very different than what I thought it was going to be. Like I said, I thought it was going to be kind of just a focus on this dating show, and it's really not. Although it is a part of the movie, it is not the focus. The focus is sort of on this weird thrill and this weird suspenseful thriller with this killer, and It's so well crafted. Anna Kendrick directs this movie like she's been directing for 50 years. She is so smart and understands how to sort of bring the audience into the suspense and make their imaginations sort of run wild in these scenes. I would love to see her do a horror movie, because there are some sequences in this movie that are scarier than a lot of the stuff that happens in real horror movies. It reminded me kind of like of Zodiac and the scariest scenes that appear in that movie. For example, there's a whole sequence where we watch the serial killer as he's luring this girl out into the wilderness, and we see him carrying a knife with him. Now, he's with this girl, and he's telling her he's going to take pictures of her, and he has her turn around, and he says, "Hey, I want to take pictures from behind. Just lift your head up, look towards the sky." And Anna Kendrick chose to go with a bird's eye view, looking directly down on the girl as she raises her head, her neck exposed, and that shot lingers for so long, and we stop hearing the serial killer. We don't know where he went, and it lingers, and it lingers, and it lingers, and it never happens. What the audience is imagining happening there, or what's about to happen, it doesn't happen. Spoiler, sorry, but just the suspense of that moment, and to know to use the camera in that way, the bird's eye shot, the setup with the knife, it is so smart, and those are the little things that allow for the audience to really get in their own head in a movie like this and create this sort of suspense, because the audience is imagining what they think they're about to see, and whether it happens or not, it doesn't matter. It was an effective movement, and there are so many different things like that in this film. There's an incredible scene with Anna Kendrick in a parking lot with this dude, another incredible scene where she's eating dinner with him. Just all of these things are so well written, well filmed, well crafted. The use of sound, where there's one scene where they're eating dinner together, they're having drinks together, and it's very loud, it's very rowdy. The sound of the people in the bar is actually kind of overly obnoxious, but slowly it starts zoning out and you hear people leaving, and slowly Anna Kendrick becomes more and more alone with this man. It is just so smart and so well done that I was kind of blown away watching this movie. It felt so well crafted that it completely blew me away that this is a first-time filmmaker. I just absolutely love this movie. I was not shocked that I loved it because I had heard so many great things about it. I was just shocked that it ended up being a very different movie than what I thought it was going to be, and I still was super receptive to it, and I actually think it's a lot better than what my idea of what this film was going to be would have been. This is an absolute slam dunk for Anna Kendrick for her first film. It's a slam dunk for Netflix, who does not get many slam dunks these days. All across the board, everybody involved in this picture should be proud. This is one of the best movies of the year so far. I will give Woman of the Hour a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a magnificent film. If you have Netflix, go check it out. Give yourself an hour and a half, a little hour and a half break from life to experience this film. It is fascinating, and it's unbelievable that it's actually a true story. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.